Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. In this video, we're going to briefly discuss the issue of corporate addresses here in Thailand, but within the specific context of tax certification. Why are we bringing this up? Well, in Thailand, there's some very specific requirements that are associated with work permit and visa issuance, most notably things like a VAT certificate and various other kinds of tax certification need to have occurred before a company will become eligible to apply for a work permit for a foreign national. And one of the problems with tax certification these days is there was a time where the Revenue Department would be pretty, for lack of a better term, easygoing. That's not really the right way to put it, but there was a time where it was possible to essentially get a company tax certified on any old address. One would basically just register a company, put down any old address as the corporate address, the domiciliary address of the company, and that address would be used for receiving official correspondence, especially for things associated with legal proceedings, etc. But also it was the address at which the company was tax certified. This is important. It's important to note that these days, to get all of a company's tax certification taken care of, most notably VAT certification, which is very important with respect to visa and work permit issuance. It's sort of a precursor document. Addresses, they're getting difficult. Revenue Department, and again, like with many things here in Thailand, each Revenue Department kind of has their own way of dealing with these regulations. But it's been pretty much apparent to me across the board over about the past 18 to 24 months that the Revenue Department here in Thailand is pretty serious about wanting to see companies on what the Revenue Department considers to be genuine commercial addresses. So in the past, it was even possible to go ahead and register a company inside a condo unit and then go ahead and receive tax certification for that company on that unit. These days, that's not so much a possibility. Companies these days are needing to show that they're at a genuine business address. I've even seen immigration officers give problems during inspections where companies are domiciled in an address that they don't deem to be where a company should be domiciled. But going back to tax certification specifically, it's possible that the Revenue Department will simply refuse to even register VAT on a specific, register a VAT certificate on a specific company if the company is not domiciled in a place where the Revenue Department feels is a genuine commercial address. And for this reason, it's a good idea to probably contact a legal professional corporate services firm such as ourselves, who can basically advise as to how best to deal with that matter, and to really forestall having to deal with that matter down the road, and just deal with it up front in the way in which that the corporate address is registered and on the proper premises, so that the issue doesn't come up at all, because that can cause a lot of problems and wasted resources and time and energy if somewhere down the road the Revenue Department decides they don't want to go ahead and issue a VAT certificate because they don't like the address at which the business is located. This is somewhat foreign. It's a somewhat foreign concept to those who've not dealt with the Thai system. And it can feel like that they're being almost a little bit nosy with respect to one's business endeavors. In my opinion, yeah, I can understand where that notion comes from. But that being said, it just is what it is, and it's just sort of part and parcel of the overriding system here, is that these officers at, say, the Revenue Department, they have certain protocols that they've been instructed to enforce, and specifically in this case, they want to see that companies are actually at places where they feel, and sometimes their perspective of how a company should run versus how a company really does run, especially in sort of service economy type sector businesses, consulting, advisory type services. It's like, well, advertising is another good one, marketing. I mean, do you need to be in, specifically in an office space, or could it be more of a shared workspace area? Could Could it even be from your home, theoretically? If you work online in the tech industry, there's another good example of something that can be done from home. That being said, unfortunately, we're stuck dealing with these officers' paradigms in order to get the documentation necessary, not only to maintain one's company, but oftentimes to obtain work permits and visas.